Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Tuesday Talks. Tonight we're going to have mechanical engineering and civil engineering both. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two representatives from the mechanical engineering department first to start off. They're going to talk about themselves, and then we'll start answering your questions. We're going to have a short break a little bit later on, and then we will bring in civil engineering department faculty. So please get ready, start sending your questions in. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and have our faculty member from mechanical engineering and a student from mechanical engineering as well, both come and have a seat and let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get right to your questions. So you guys can go ahead and come on in.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Quano. I'm an associate professor of mechanical engineering, also the associate department head of mechanical engineering. And this is my 10th year at Rose-Hulman. I absolutely love teaching here. I love the student-centered, undergraduate-focused mission of the school. And I'm originally from California, so hello to everyone who's tuning in from the West Coast. I did my schooling at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I'm actually from that area. And then I went to UC Berkeley to do my graduate school.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarazni Hunter. I'm a senior mechanical engineering major here at Rose. I'm from the St. Louis area, so hello to everyone from that area. A little bit about what I do at Rose. I am the vice president of NSBE. I am also the co-president of Best Buddies, which is a really cool organization that works with intellectually disabled teens in the community and just kind of helps them feel welcome. So that's a really cool group I'm a part of.
All right, you guys ready for your first question? So we have one that's come in so far from Matt. First question is, what research opportunities are available to mechanical engineers?
So I'll go ahead and take that.
Okay.
Lots of opportunities. So mechanical engineering is very broad, so it depends on what your interests are. So if you're interested in robotics, we have several faculty that are actively pursuing robotics type research projects. If you're interested in thermodynamics or fluid dynamics, we have wind tunnels, and you can use those as part of your research opportunities. If you're more into programming, we have faculty members who are very interested in that field, and so you can get involved with doing some programming or more math-oriented type of research projects. If you're looking for particularly hands-on projects, I know of, I believe Dr. Wink is doing haptic feedback, so that's where we use robots. And maybe they vibrate and get information to the users that way. Also, there's some automotive things that you can do as well. So we know that Dr. White is in the automotive field. So if you're interested in combustion or automotive, you can certainly get involved that way as well. Sarajini, do you have anything to add?
I think that pretty much covers a lot of the research opportunities we have here at Rose.
Great. All right. So next question I think is going to be probably touch on several questions all at once, kind of. So the question is, how can I go from mechanical engineering to aerospace engineering? So I think probably the best way, if you could just kind of talk about how aerospace how students do that at Rose-Hulman. So basically, I mean, I know that they're going to end up with a mechanical engineering degree, but can you talk a little bit about what their experience would be like in aero here?
Sure. So just to be clear, we don't actually have an aerospace engineering program, but within mechanical engineering, again, because it's so broad, we actually have several faculty members that teach a variety of aerospace engineering classes. And so as part of the ME program, you have to take what are called free electives and technical electives. So free electives are essentially anything, and technical electives, as the name implies, are technical related classes. And so for those electives, you can take these aerospace related classes. And there's a bonus, which is if you take enough of these aerospace classes and related classes, you can get what's called an aerospace concentration. And so that's a designation that you'll have on your transcript.
Great. I know we have a lot of students that go into the aero industry with mechanical engineering degrees, so it is a good opportunity, great opportunity really for those students to have a broad mechanical degree, but still have a good way into the aero industry. All right, next question. What are some specific things you study as a mechanical engineer?
Sarajan, you want to take that one?
So that's a really good question. So I'd say starting off freshman year, of course, you take your general classes like your calcs and your physics. But at the same time, your first class as an engineer is Introduction to Design. So that's a real hands-on class where you're learning how to reverse engineer, put different prototypes together. But you're also taking other classes throughout freshman year, such as GraphComp, which is a computer-based 3D CAD class. And as you go throughout your years at Rose, you'll go more into your fluids class, your thermal classes, and those are more concept-based, but we're also doing a lot of labs at the same time. So for example, in your fluids lab, you'll get to use the wind tunnel, which is super cool opportunity as an undergrad. So those are just some of the classes we do as a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Obviously, mechanical engineering being so broad, you've got a lot of different areas you can go into and cover, I'm sure, as well.
Yes.
All right, so next one I think pretty much is for Sarojini as well. You can try to answer it if you want as well. What was your most difficult class?
Okay, so I'd say my most difficult class was ConApps, Conservation of Accounting Principles. I'd say it was most difficult because that's your first real engineering class, so just getting used to all of the new terms, all of the ways of just teaching you how to be an engineer, learning the format of how to write down your problems. So yeah, that was the most challenging class.
And if I can add, it's a very foundational class. So those ideas, it's actually quite unique at Rose. So if you go to other schools, you often learn about dynamics, the study of systems in motion, thermodynamics and fluid dynamics, all separately. And what ConApps, Conservation and Accounting Principles, does is bring that all together initially, and then you branch off into the specific domains. And again, it's very foundational because what you learn in that class, you'll see all throughout the rest of your curriculum.
Awesome. That's great to know. All right. Next question is from Luke. How long does a student have to declare an engineering major?
Ideally, we would like you to declare, know coming in that you would like to be in a particular major. Let's say you are on the fence about, oh, do I want to do mechanical or do I want to do civil? Those types of majors are fairly close to one another in terms of the types of classes that you're going to take initially. So I'd say probably within the first year, you'd want to decide, because by the second year you're going to start diverging, and then it'll be more difficult to say transfer to civil, from civil to mechanical, if that's what you want to do. If it's something like I want to decide between mechanical and computer science, that gets a little trickier because those are quite different. So if it's possible, if you could maybe watch some YouTube videos where you can see classes in session and kind of get an idea as to what the material would be like, that would be really ideal, so that you have a good idea as to what you want to do when you're coming in.
Are there any opportunities as a freshman to take any of those different courses? So like if a student doesn't know, are they, if they're in mechanical, are they going to just be in the mechanical curriculum, or are they going to have an opportunity to take any coursework in other majors as well?
Sure, there's an opportunity to take classes in other majors. Outside of the typical, I've got to do my math and physics and chemistry, again, we have free electives, which are essentially anything. So if you feel like, man, I want to see what a class in computer science is like, go off and take that class and use it to count as your free elective. Also, if you're coming in as undeclared and you actually want to take a computer science class that would actually count for mechanical engineering, we have a few classes where you could take a class outside of mechanical engineering but would count towards our curriculum. For example, you have to take a programming class in the freshman year, and you could take the computer science version of that, which is Python, and get credit for the mechanical engineering version, which is a program called MATLAB.
Okay, great. All right, next question. I'm interested in robotics engineering. What classes does Rose offer in robotics?
Great question. So just some background, the robotics, we have a robotics minor, which is extremely popular. And actually, this kind of goes back to what I just said about if you take a computer science class for programming instead of mechanical engineering, that is one way that you could approach the robotics minor. So it's early on, you can take some classes that you'll get dual credit for, if you will, and satisfy the robotics minor. And the types of classes you would take, clearly programming, but there are also aspects of mechanical engineering and electrical engineering in there. And so there's a list of classes, one's called robotics engineering, for example, that you would just have to take throughout your curriculum. And if you're perhaps concerned about, ooh, minor is a little bit scary. I'm not sure if I would be able to finish that in 4 years. You can actually get a mechanical engineering degree with a robotics minor and still complete in 4 years, because you can take all the classes for the robotics minor as your technical electives and your free electives. So you essentially can get the minor for free. And the minor is I think it's about 6 classes that you would have to take. Again, spread throughout computer science, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering.
Great, that's really helpful. Next question, I think actually probably on some of both of you can answer, but it's from Asia. What is the first year curriculum like? Is it project-based or lecture-based?
Would you mind starting with that?
Yeah, I can start this question off. So I'd say it's a mix of both. You definitely have lectures for most of your classes, but the lectures are reinforced with labs, which I found very useful. I'm a really big hands-on learner, so it was nice to be able to go to lecture and then one day out of the week you would go apply those things in lab.
And so the kinds of classes that you'd be taking during your first year, a lot of your introductory math and science. So Calc 1, 2, and 3, for example, Physics 1, Physics 2, chemistry, you could take biology as well. But there are some engineering classes thrown in there. So for example, in the freshman year, fall quarter, you'd be taking a class called Graphical Communications, or GraphComp for short. And that's just solid modeling. So if you're familiar with SolidWorks or any kind of computer-aided drafting program, that's what you would do there. Then in the winter quarter, you'll be taking what I would call your first engineering experience with analysis. So there's a class called Statics and Mechanics of Materials. Basically, you have a building, it's not moving. What are the forces that are required to keep that building upright? And if some member in the building stretches, how would you determine the amount of stretch? Then in the spring quarter, you'd be taking your first design type class, which is Intro to Design. And you'll also have a programming class, again, which is MATLAB based, or you could take something like Python instead. And in those classes, you actually have a variety of projects that you can work on. So Rajani, do you remember what kinds of projects you did?
Yeah, so for example, in MATLAB, we had to program a robot. So for people who are interested in robotics, this is a really cool project where you're programming a robot arm, and the robot has to pick up different pieces and then place them in the correct location. And so at first it's a little overwhelming when you're trying to program an entire robot on your own, but they definitely teach you the key components throughout the class. So that's one of the main projects that we performed in MATLAB.
Cool. So it seems like that the mechanical engineering degree, even though it's a fully accredited engineering degree, that we do a very good job here of allowing the students to get a lot of hands-on experience, that there is a lot of lab time available, that it's not just the math and science, the book stuff. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes. You will have multiple lab experiences every year that you're here, whether it's in the foundational sciences like physics and chemistry, or the mechanical engineering classes. You'll definitely be doing a lot of hands-on work.
Yeah, I just know we get questions a lot of times about theory versus hands-on, and it seems like for the type of degree that we offer, there's lots of hands-on opportunities and not just theory-based experiences. So great.
Absolutely.
Great. All right, next question. Can mechanical engineering be a minor to biomedical engineering?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure of that.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, take it back. We don't actually have a ME minor.
Okay.
Yeah, I should take that back. We
Okay.
don't actually have an ME minor yet.
Okay.
And I say yet because it is something that we are considering within the department currently.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
But if you were to do ME, you can minor in another major.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. So maybe a mechanical minor coming.
Yes, stay tuned.
All right, next question. Do you offer dual degrees like mechanical? It says mechanical design degree, so maybe mechanical and engineering design, I guess is maybe what the question is asking. So kind of just, I guess, double majoring opportunities.
Yes, there are double majoring opportunities. That specific example of mechanical engineering and engineering design is actually not allowed. And that's because those two programs have quite a bit of overlap with them. However, let's say you're an ME who really likes to do programming and you really want to go for a double major in computer science. You can absolutely do that.
Okay, great. What kind of internship opportunities are available for ME students?
I can take that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are plenty of internship opportunities available to students. Do you say freshmen, Matt?
No, just any, just mechanical.
Okay, there are plenty of opportunities. I'd say, from my experience, freshman year, actually fall quarter, surprisingly, I was able to earn an internship and I was able to work for Marathon Petroleum. I had a really great experience. So I'd say if you're a freshman or anyone, just go to the career fairs that Career Services puts on for you, and you'll be in great shape. And just join lots of clubs, stay active on campus, and there's plenty of opportunities out there.
And if I can chime in, so I used to be a faculty advisor for one of our competition teams, Formula SAE. It's an open wheel, basically it's an open wheel, open cockpit race car building competition team. And if you get involved in those kinds of activities, like Sarajini said, companies may actually actively want to recruit you and your team because of that particular experience that you have.
Yeah, and I think that the great thing, with mechanical being so broad is there are lots of different internship opportunities in lots of different areas. Like Sarajini mentioned, the career fairs, have lots of different companies that come from all over the country to recruit our students. So lots of volume as well. You're not going to get stuck in one specific area. There's wide range of different opportunities. So internships are definitely available to students, and they're all paid, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So another bonus to doing internships. All right, next question. What makes Rose's ME program different from ME programs at other universities?
So I would say with my experience teaching in the program and having been a student elsewhere, one, because we are a undergraduate focused and teaching focused institution, I think you would definitely see a difference in the interaction between the professors and the students. And in terms of the number of hands-on activities that you're going to have, definitely there are a lot of labs, a lot of experiences that you will have in the lab with hands-on activities, which is something that you might not have at quite a few other institutions.
Great, that's really helpful. All right, so the next question, I know Rose has a build shop. What is the extent of individual project development opportunities, and what resources are available for this?
And so we have a variety of facilities on campus. We have, just within ME, we have the ME machine shop. But campus-wide, we actually have a couple of facilities. One that comes to mind is the Branham Innovation Center. And that's where a lot of the competition teams are housed. But in there, we also have, I believe we have a makerspace area in there where students can work on individual projects. And even if you're not working in that particular area, just within ME, we have quite a few 3D printers. And so if there's some kind of project that you want to work on, all you got to do is go talk to the techs and ask if you can maybe 3D print something, or if you need some assistance with using machinery that you're not used to using. All you got to do is ask, and people are very friendly, and they'll certainly get you up to speed, and you can work on various projects that you'd like. Sarajini, do you have any experience with working on projects in that manner?
Yes, so I actually was able to work in the machine shop a lot freshman year. I took the shop badge training, and so within that, I was able to work on personal projects and learn how to use different machines. So there's definitely the opportunity to work on personal projects if you're interested.
And if I can jump in on there, so Sarajini mentioned the shop badge, and so that's something where it's not for credit, but if you would really like to learn how to use different machinery in the machine shop, you could take this course and you develop that confidence and work on various projects.
Yeah, and the next question asked about independent engineering projects. So I think we touched on that pretty well. I think the thing that's good to know too is when we talk about the machine shop, they are really great facilities and opportunities for students. So plenty of different mills and lathes available. There's at least a couple different CNC machines, I believe. Plasma cutter. We have the biggest table router I think that I've ever seen in the Branham Innovation Center, as well as a water jet. Obviously those things are not open just for students to use, at least to begin with, but like Dr. Kawano said, the opportunities for students to ask the techs and things like that, there's definitely, I think about anything you want to fabricate, you could probably fabricate on campus with the equipment that we have. So very cool. Let's see. What are the most common working fields Rose grads go into with their mechanical engineering degree?
I would say we have a good number of students that go into the automotive field. Probably, especially if they're from the Midwest, because at least in Indiana, we've got Honda, Subaru, Toyota, but we also have people that go into they go work at Eli Lilly, which is a pharmaceuticals company. Now they're not making pharmaceuticals per se, but they're working on the the assembly line, if you will.
Yep.
What other companies and other opportunities have you what kind of your friends who have graduated, where did they go, Sarojini?
So I have that's a good question. So I have a couple of friends who went into the petroleum industry, oil and gas. Also, like you said, automotive was a big one. And personally, I've went into like pharmaceuticals with Eli Lilly, so it's definitely a wide range of opportunities.
And then to go back to the aerospace question from earlier, again, people can go into aerospace. We've got Rolls-Royce in Indianapolis. GE Aviation is here in town in Terre Haute. Again, mechanical engineering being so broad, you can get into all different kinds of areas.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's one of those things you mentioned, obviously a lot of interest in the Midwest and the auto industry and things like that. And you talked earlier about the Formula SAE team. I think the competition teams that we have on campus give those students a lot of great opportunities as well to get good hands-on experience. It seems like some of the students that I've even talked to that end up having those co-op or internship or even career opportunities as much based on their competition team experience as some of the other things that they've learned on campus. Sometimes it seems like, so great way to get involved there and get some good experience. The next question actually kind of goes back to the auto industry as well. So is there an automotive concentration, or how might I pursue that at Rose? So is it just course based, or is there actual specific set, concentration set of courses for it?
I believe we have an advanced transportation concentration, and essentially that's just a collection of automotive and automotive related courses. For example, I mentioned Dr. White earlier, who's kind of our big automotive person in the department. So he teaches a class in IC engines, internal combustion engines, and also in combustion, because he's really into chemistry as well. And then we also have Dr. Chambers, who teaches a vehicle systems modeling class. So a variety of classes available that you can take. And again, if you take a certain number of those, you can get that concentration designation. I'd say if you're really interested in automotive, definitely get involved with the Formula SAE team. We also have more of a hobby club, if you will. It's Team Rose Motorsports. Definitely get involved with Formula SAE. You'll get a lot of hands-on experience. Essentially, every year you build the car from scratch. And so that will give you, maybe if you stick with it long enough, you can just kind of cycle through the different components of the vehicle. And that'll give you a lot of experience, I think, towards your automotive career, if you will.
Great. All right, so next question. First year, what math classes do you take besides Calc 1?
I guess.
Well, Calc 2 and Calc 3.
Yeah.
But you also can take you actually have to take a math science elective as part of the mechanical engineering degree program. And so you get to choose some other math class that interests you, or science class. If you come in a little bit ahead and you've taken maybe Calc 1 and Calc 2, that means you can dip into the sophomore year math classes. And do you remember what those classes were, Sarojini?
I know we took DE1 and DE2.
As differential equations.
Oh, sorry, differential equations.
There's a statistics class as well. Yeah. And if you're really into math, you can use that. You can take math classes for your technical electives and free electives. We've had a number of students take various advanced level math classes because of their interest.
Great. All right. Next question actually goes right back to question we kind of touched on a couple minutes ago. Are the competition teams easy to get into, like robotics, SAE, or concrete canoe?
Just from my experience with Formula SAE, the team is very inviting. So it's not, I don't think it's an issue of, is it difficult to get in with the team? I think what the issue is can you stick with the team? You are going to be busy with your academics. And so there is an amount, some balancing that you have to do with your academics and your extracurricular activities. Surajini, what's your experience been with that kind of balance?
Yeah, with extracurriculars?
Yes.
Okay. So I personally believe that like my extracurriculars and being involved in sports has really helped me schedule my day throughout Rose. So I have cross-country practice at 4:30 every day. And so I try to get a lot of my work done before that, just so I don't have to stay up late every day. And so that really provides structure in my life. And then as far as extracurriculars, I really enjoyed those because they kind of give me a break from school. So yeah, that's how I balance my day.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like every time I think that I've been down to the BIC with other students or something like that, it seems like the competition teams would be willing to take the high school students on as well. I think they're very, very inviting, like you said. I think it's a good way to put it, that they are more than happy to have people join. So it's definitely not, there's no barrier to joining. It's just how you're able to maintain.
And they'll steer you towards your interest too, and that will hopefully help you stick with the team.
All right. So we've got about 5 minutes left or so we're going to try to get through some more real quick. Next question. Does Rose offer a mechatronics class or major?
Yes, actually, you are required to take a mechatronics class. So that occurs in usually you'll take it in your senior year in either the fall or the winter quarter. And as far as a mechatronics program, we don't have a mechatronics program, but we do have the robotics minor, which would be the closest thing. And that's what we talked about earlier. So essentially take about, I think it's 6 classes or so, use them to satisfy your technical electives and your free electives. And you can get a BS in mechanical engineering and a minor in robotics in 4 years.
Awesome. All right, next question. How many credit hours per quarter are required to graduate in 4 years with a mechanical degree? So I know obviously the curriculum fluctuates, but could you just give a general average, I guess, of about what, probably, I guess a better way for us, since we are on quarters and not semesters, maybe how many classes are required, maybe instead of hours, I guess, might give a better feel for what each quarter, how it's set up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll be taking about 4 classes a quarter. Depending on the types of classes, you may have a few more just because of the way the credits work out, but it's usually around 4 classes a quarter, and that works out to about 16 credits a quarter. Again, as Matt mentioned, that's going to fluctuate depending on the types of courses. And in terms of the workload, Surajini, what's your experience like with taking 4 classes, 16 credits a quarter?
I think the workload is okay. Personally, I was excited that I only had to take 16 credits in order to graduate in 4 years, instead of some people who I'm friends with at different schools, they have to take 18 credits. So 16 credits is definitely manageable.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to ask one more question and then kind of wrap 2 of them together to kind of wrap things up. Does that work for everybody? All right, so what are the most common minors you see mechanical engineering students minor in?
Robotics minors, probably number 1 from my experience. I think it's just probably easier to incorporate because you can use your technical electives and free electives towards that. I would say there's probably a good number that do electrical engineering. There's probably some math and some computer science sprinkled in there as well. But I'd say robotics by far is the most popular.
Okay, very cool. All right, so like I said, there's kind of 2 that I'm going to put together, kind of asking both of you. Like I said, we've got a couple minutes left, so just kind of keep that in mind. What is your favorite thing about Rose? Doesn't have to be curriculum related. Okay. So what's your favorite thing about Rose? And to kind of go back to where we started a little bit in the beginning, why did you choose mechanical? So what helped you make the choice to do mechanical? Does that make sense? So yes. Favorite thing about Rose, why did you choose mechanical?
Would you like to start, Suraj?
Yes, I can start. So my favorite thing about Rose is definitely the dedicated professors. I knew engineering was going to be a challenging major, and I definitely wanted to make sure I went to a school that had all of the resources available to me so that I could be successful. So that's the main reason why I chose Rose. And then the next question was
Mechanical.
Mechanical. Okay, so why I chose mechanical. Mechanical engineering is very broad, like Dr. Kawano has mentioned numerous times. And initially I thought I wanted to do biomedical engineering, but I talked to a lot of different people and they were saying that it was a very narrow major. And so I wasn't exactly sure that I wanted to go in biomedical. And so from that, I explored different options and decided to go into mechanical engineering just because it was broad and I had a variety of things I could choose from. And so from my personal experience, I've been able to try the oil and gas industry, but also the pharmaceutical industry. And from that, I was able to find like what actually interests me. So that's why I chose mechanical.
And the thing I like about Rose the best, so I guess I'll come from this from a working standpoint.
Okay.
People were kind of wonder, why would you leave California and come to Indiana, right?
Right.
When I came for my interview, this is exactly the kind of place I wanted to work. Just the interaction between the students and the instructors, the devotion to undergraduate teaching, that really sold me, absolutely. And why did I personally choose mechanical engineering? I think maybe a little bit like Surajini, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that ME was pretty broad. But pretty soon I found my niche, and definitely ME turned out to be, I think, the best choice for me.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for chatting with us this evening. You guys did a great job. So what we're going to do now, everybody that's tuned into the chat, please stay on board with us. We're going to take just about a 60-second break or so. We're going to have a faculty member from civil engineering come in and answer some questions as well. So again, thank you very much. You guys were awesome talking about mechanical. And if students have any questions, do you want to give your contact information or the department contact information?
Sure.
Real quick?
Sure. If you have any questions, you can contact me, Daniel Kawano, at kawano@rose-hulman.edu. Again, I'm the associate department head, so I can answer your questions. You could also contact the department head for mechanical engineering. That's Dr. Richard Onyancha at ONYANCHA at rose-hulman.edu.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for everything this evening. We'll be back.